Is anyone potentially listening to these mics in the show? We're live.
We are back, and it looks like we're actually resolved.
Throughput Thursday.
Incredible technology.
If this stream was on Monad, it would have no difficulties. Just be faster. It would never go down. Danny, did you have something to lead up with? I have a good question that I would like to throw towards Keone, but want to offer you the spot just in case.
I would love to hear your question for Keone.
Awesome. So there were actually, the Coinbase token sale announcement was the largest announcement on Monday, but there was actually a lot of other kind of news, disclosures, information about Monad that went out. And one of the questions that people were asking, at least be directly in Telegram chats, and I was explaining, but maybe a good question to ask is just around the ecosystem development fund. I think understanding what that is, generally when people have tokenomics go out, they don't quite know what the labels mean. There's not always apples to apples, basically. And so I think people generally understand what Momentum is and how that fits into the ecosystem development fund. But I think understanding, what the potential uses will be moving forward could be, a good topic for people to have a better understanding of.
Yeah. The announcement on Monday was really a flurry of announcements because there was a lot of stuff that was kind of backed up on the announcement of the Coinbase token sale. And we couldn't announce the tokenomics ahead of that because there would have been a 7.5% chunk that we couldn't explain, and we wouldn't want to explain ahead of time because that would ruin the surprise of the Coinbase token sale announcement. And similarly, it just really made sense to share the airdrop result, although I think it was also already clear to people anyway because the data was on chain on testnet, and some sleuths were looking into the data on chain, and then also a lot of people were sharing some information about their allocations and so on. But anyway, three blog posts all went out on Monday, and they were all a bunch of things that folks in the community had been anxiously waiting and curious about for a while. So it's really just a massive week in terms of a lot of stuff for to be shared about the Monad project going forward. But focusing specifically on the tokenomics aspect, the Monad Foundation is thus well funded from a Mon token perspective, as well as from a dollar perspective with the result of the token sale. And what that really means is that the foundation is well equipped to be a supporter of the Monad ecosystem through various initiatives. Monad Momentum is really just the first of probably a lot of things that happen over many years. And really the announcement about the Monad Momentum selectees was just for the first month. So I expect, and don't hold me to it, but for every month, for quite a number of months, there are going to be new projects selected and projects that were selected previously, getting renewed and so on, because it really should be an iterative process. And that's true of startups in general. With startups, you need to try something, test it, A/B test it, figure out whether it's working, make tweaks. And that's really true in this case as well, where because Monad Momentum is so user acquisition oriented, I really just hope to see teams experimenting with different channels of acquiring users, different UA campaigns, really optimizing, figuring out how to efficiently bring new users to try out the thing that they've built, and also experiment and very carefully measure user retention and the value of the users, which ultimately is what drives a sustainable business. So I think it's going to be quite iterative, but that combined with a lot of the other things that the foundation does. For example, the Monad Founder Residency at the network school in Malaysia earlier this year, Monad Blitzes, which are one-day hackathons. There have been 15 so far across many different cities that are opportunities for developers to come and very quickly hack on a project idea that they have. The Foundry, many other initiatives that help provide early stage support to builders, because I think all of us here know it's really hard to be a builder in the crypto space. Like it is, it's incredibly challenging, and the purpose of the ecosystem development portion of the tokenomics is to support the long-term growth and sustainable success of the Monad ecosystem.
And it makes me think of like consumer apps or perps X's when I think of Mono Momentum. I don't know why, but my mind just goes towards like people that generally use crypto apps. Like we'll see the user acquisition incentives on Mono Momentum, for example. But there are a lot of other areas of Monad that could potentially be future use cases. One of which was highlighted yesterday at the bridge, where there were a lot of institutional funds, investors, people that just generally work outside of the crypto bubble. I don't know. I feel like I'm describing the main person that you would see like works at a bank and they feel that they need to get into crypto. And so like they're working really hard to figure out what that actually looks like. And you had an awesome talk yesterday with Brett Tejpal, the co-CEO of Coinbase Institutional, and Frank Chaparro. I already gave Frank a shout out on this stream. I'll give him another one that was well earned. He's a hilarious, great moderator. Mm-hmm. But a lot of the topic of conversation was like, institutions are looking to adopt the tech, and Brett made a really good point around they already, traditional financial institutions have really big tech stacks. They have kind of high cost of maintenance infrastructure set up to allow them to do the things that they want to do. And the way that Brett looks at a blockchain like Monad is that having it in the back end could actually be a massive cost reduction mechanism for these firms, right? If they were to run it on Monad instead of their current infrastructure, it would actually cut a lot of costs and make the whole process more efficient. And there's a number of other threads along this line, but would love to just understand like how you have a very long history of working in traditional finance or working in traditional finance. So understanding how you think Monad might be able to actually fit in and either fulfill what Brett's talking about there or any other applications on the institutional side of finance for Monad.
Yeah, I think finance is about coordination in a global system, and it's about risk transference and allowing risk to move from one party to another, thus making both parties happier. Like if you think about a oil producer, like a ExxonMobil or Shell Oil, they constantly are producing more oil, and of course they have contracts that enable them to sell those specific barrels of oil that are being produced, but they also want to hedge their price risk as they're producing and hedge some of their future production. And they accomplish that by selling futures contracts on oil. And at the same time, you have other companies like, for example, airlines that are consumers of oil. And so they want to hedge the other direction. Like they're worried that the price of oil will go up. So they want to buy oil exposure in the future now. And a financial contract like an oil future enables that risk transference to happen so that both parties can plan for the future and accurately forecast their budget quarters out and be more efficient from that, and actually not borrow too much money in the future because they know exactly what their costs are. They don't need as like wide of a buffer. So ultimately what finance gives us is the ability for people to move risk from one party to another and both benefit from the movement of risk and the reduction of risk that someone doesn't want and the acquisition of risk that someone else does want. That's really what finance is about. And it's, it's a trading is like there's that risk transference aspect, but then there's the coordination aspect of how people agree on, I sent you the money and you sent me the thing. Like that, all of that is, it requires systems on which multiple parties can coordinate. And so I think at a very fundamental level, I'm giving you a very sort of intellectual answer to your question, but I think it is because we want to have strongly rooted fundamental beliefs about where blockchain technology can enable efficiencies. And that really comes from the fact that a really decentralized, reliable, global system upon which many parties are all observing as full node operators that are observing the state transitions, and a system that's maintained by a globally distributed, decentralized set of actors that prevent any one actor from deviating arbitrarily and making arbitrary changes, only following the rules of the system, only following the rules that are written in code. That's where we really get something that is transformative from a efficiency and trust perspective for many actors in the global economy. I just think it is actually pretty magical when I can open my hardware wallet and prepare a transaction and then quickly sign it, verify everything, all the inputs are correct, and send it, and then have someone completely on the other side of the world immediately receive it and know that funds have been transferred, instead of going through a very opaque process controlled by middlemen who are not actually incentivized to make the process more transparent, because the opacity actually helps enshrine them. So that's really, I think, what is magical about crypto and magical about truly decentralized networks, is that they're a trust layer that enables everyone to be able to trust each other, or actually rather to not have to trust each other, because they can just know that the system is controlled by a large enough set of independent actors that are all following the rules, and that are not just following the rules because they're nice, but also because the protocol rules actually enforce that.
Well, we do have FOMO coming up. A lot of people may feel gypped. They love listening to Keone speak, but fear not. Every person with a platform in the crypto industry has been pinging me relentlessly to get Keone on their platform. So over the next 10 days or so, if Keone is gracious with his time, he will be live on a lot of other streams, on Thread Guy yesterday, have a bunch of other ones lined up. Gwart was pinging me this morning, making sure that Keone was locked in for next week. So there'll be a lot of other times coming up. I don't want FOMO to FOMO their own time. They have a lot of big announcements coming out.
Yeah, FOMO's massive.
Yeah, and so we'll dive right into that. But Keone, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Cool. Well, we will do the cut then. It's to FOMO. Is there an intermission? All right, we'll do the quick intermission, and then we'll be right back to hit on FOMO. Appreciate you guys.
We're at the Bridge, the largest conference for institutional adoption of crypto.
What are institutions looking for in a blockchain, and why is Monad well positioned to carry the torch for the future of finance?
Institutions care about reliability, and I think also scalability. So you need a network that you can trust and that can scale with the needs of your business. With Monad, there's trust in decentralization. Ironically, trustlessness actually brings about this element of trust.
How is Magic Eden thinking about the rapid institutional adoption that we're seeing in crypto?
I remember when I started the company like 3 years ago, like it felt like a very tight-knit degen community having fun with this technology, and now to see that it's powering stable coins around the world and really powering the core financial infrastructure of how we operate, it's just incredible to see what's happened in 3 years.
What are the most important considerations they're looking at when choosing what blockchains to deploy on and when to deploy on them?
I would say the quality of the team, the tech readiness of the tech, and also security are like some of the key concerns that we, and also the institutions care about. We wanted to work with chain that's going to be here for a long time. We want to work with chain that's secure for its user, that has a very smooth user experience.
What have you noticed that the traditional finance space is really looking for when choosing whether to integrate a blockchain or build on a blockchain?
What they're looking for is credibility and a huge thing on a cost factor. And obviously, it needs to be performant. It needs to be able to deliver all of the promises of a blockchain technology. For a project like Monad, it's that once we go into mainnet, we'll be able to show this is what we've promised for a really long time, and here it is in terms of delivering.
The whole point of the event is really, we're not a giant commercial event like a Consensus or Token 2049 that's focused on, throwing the biggest possible event. It's all about bringing the right people together, bringing them in the room and helping to bridge them together.
We've been building for over 3 years for this moment, and it's exciting to launch the mainnet and get back to work. We're here at the Bridge, the largest conference for institutional adoption of crypto.
And we are live. We're back. We're better than ever. The stream is stronger than ever, thankfully. And we have Paul from FOMO here. Paul, how are we doing today?
Doing well. Yeah, good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys had an enormous announcement recently, which is super exciting. I have had the pleasure of following FOMO kind of from the early days and watching some of the adoption you guys have been able to capture with the app itself. It seems Benchmark also noticed the adoption and was very excited to lead your recent fundraise. Yeah, maybe just to kick things off, if you can just walk us through kind of what was the process of fundraising, maybe some of the headline numbers, clearly kind of some eye-catching stats in on that side. And then from the fundraise, we can move on and hit on some of the app. But
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so early on, we decided not to take any institutional capital in the first round because we're building a consumer app and wanted to create a distribution channel. So back in February or March, we raised an angel round of about 140 people, actually a few more than that. And yeah, I mean, these people have been invaluable to help us grow and like builders from throughout the space, different ecosystems. And the vision for FOMO is always this cross-chain, really ease of use trading platform and built on this social graph. So we were continuing to build. We had this 10x spike in growth in July on the back of the Apple Pay feature. And a lot of those were net new users to crypto. So like normies and from TikTok. And we're developing a really great top of the funnel distribution strategy there. And I think everyone's been talking about how do we get the next 10 million users to crypto for a long time now. So our goal is to hopefully finally do that. But then we were continuing to build and we were looking for the next 10x growth opportunity. And we really want this to be one of the largest consumer apps in crypto, and not just a crypto app, but one of the largest financial consumer apps that ever existed. So we were looking at partners to help with the next stage of growth. And we kicked off a Series A, and Chetan from Benchmark, it was very clear from like the first conversation that he got the vision, and we kind of just clicked. And they've obviously been amazing at scaling the largest consumer apps in the world, right? Snapchat, Uber, WeWork, Instagram,
Twitter, I believe.
Twitter too, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I actually think they passed on Facebook back in the day, and I think Accel got that one. But yeah, I mean, which was definitely not the. But anyway, they've scaled the largest consumer app, so it's a great partner for us. And we brought on some like really talented folks on as angels as well, early builders for the largest consumer app. So like C-suite of Meta, some of like the early growth people at Robinhood, like head of product at Snapchat, and some of these guys have scaled consumer apps on the round as well. And that's kind of how the round came together. And what's really exciting is we've 10 to 15x our growth since the A. So we closed we signed a term sheet probably mid-September, and back then we were doing probably $2 to $3 million in volume a day, and we peaked at 40 last week, or doing over 20 a day now. So yeah, it's been an exciting time.
Hell yeah, that is awesome. I would love to talk about where FOMO is at right now, and then maybe what some of these other pieces of the vision are moving forward. So for anyone who is not familiar with FOMO, how would you describe it to them?
Yeah, I mean, I think the easiest way is to download it. Not to plug that, but I actually really think if you spend 10 minutes on the app, you could figure it out. We should have did some kind of campaign.
10x sales process. Describe your app to me. Go
Download
buy it. And link your Apple
We should have
Pay
did
as
something
well.
where we give viewers like $50 on the app. I would love to do something like that. Maybe we could figure it out in the future. But yeah, I mean, so where FOMO sits today is there's kind of two main cells. One is the ease of use, right? You can onboard in seconds via Apple ID. You could buy assets instantly with Apple Pay. And most of those are like some collectible assets where you can just buy instantly. There's obviously like you can deposit USDC and others via on-ramps. We're doing native bank deposits very soon, and that process is going to be absolutely incredible. That will require more KYC, obviously, but obviously there's no KYC when you enter the app because it's just a wallet right now. And then the other use case is the social graph. And this is what we're most excited about, because it's really hard to solve the cold start problem and just like figure out this flywheel. But all these other social financial apps in the past, eToro, Webull, like ones that are not even crypto, they're very noisy. Like the social feeds will tell you things that you don't really want. Like maybe Nancy Pelosi made a trade, but like they only disclose once a quarter. So it's so long ago. And I'm very convinced that the future social financial application will exist on crypto rails, because what it enables is full transparency. And it's not just like transparency alone allows for you to, like, someone could tell you they bought something, and if you actually have confirmation where you could check on the app that they bought something, that's obviously beneficial. But the more beneficial piece is like there's a tragedy of the commons where if you give the people options to be private, or if you give the people options not to post, they won't. Like starting up from scratch is really hard. And then the people that do end up on the feed, there's confirmation bias, because you're only going to post if you're winning, right? But if you could have full transparency to whatever everyone's doing, you're actually an active participant in the social graph if you just trade. So if you build the best trading experience and you're high notional and you're like top, like we have this algorithm that if you're like one of the top people on the leaderboard, or it's like weighted with leaderboard, it's weighted by your notional position, then you'll end up on the social feed. You could also follow people, get notifications, and then you automatically are part of the social product.
So it's almost like if you're on Twitter or X, instead of like kind of getting weighted by engagement or follow count, the algo is in favor of the people with the largest positions themselves.
Exactly, or consistently performing well on the leaderboard. So you have it consistently. We're adding some stuff soon that will allow people to have more culpability, like how fast they enter positions, like how fast they exit positions, average hold time. Because if someone has a 10-minute average hold time, you probably don't want to tail them. So I think over time there'll be more culpability mechanisms. But you could also be a more active participant. Like we added theses to trades, and you could like write comments on what your thesis is. And it's funny, we're going to double down on building a lot of more social features that allow for increased interactivity in the app. We've already seen people, like there's a holder section on FOMO. You go to any coin, it'll be like intern #1 holder, then Paul right under. And like I'll put an up care, be like, I love this guy. And people are like interacting in the holder section, which means it's a very good sign, because it shows you that there's like this desire to interact more on the app already.
Yeah. And they're buying into the way that the platform is already set up. Like people doing something that they have not done on other social media apps, specifically on your app, and like conforming what they're posting or how they're expressing themselves on you. Like that's a great sign.
Exactly.
It's like if Twitter was just people screenshotting what was posted on Instagram and posting it, it would be shitty. But because of the way that Twitter is created, people go and type and send tweets in a certain way, and that's what gives the social media like its own kind of pizzazz. That's
exactly right.
That's why it exists.
Yeah. And I think that a lot of people have tried to build skeuomorphic versions of social on chain. And listen, I think that Twitter should have an open social graph. Like if they ban you, you should be able to port that somewhere else. But it's not good enough for people to want to use the experience. It's like the analogy I give is people don't drive Teslas because they're electric cars. They did it at first because it's like a computer on wheels and it was an amazing experience. But then it happened to be an electric car and it kind of normalized electric cars. And it's like no one's going to use Twitter on chain, right? Because it's not like having a public social graph is not enough of a benefit of a user experience for you to switch over. But the native, like what crypto has proved is the best architecture ever created for value transfer. Like we fought tooth and nail for decades. Like everyone's buying stable coins now. It's going to all trickle down. Everything's going to be tokenized. And as these things move on chain, the native use case of social should also be part of value transfer. So on FOMO, every single time you transfer value, meaning you place a trade, then you're part of the social graph. And that's what people care about. Yeah. So I think that's kind of what we're doubling down to on the social side. And I think that's like the sticking point here, because if you create this social distribution channel, a joyful experience, because it's trading with people is much more fun than trading isolated and not knowing, then you can distribute every financial product. You don't have to just be crypto as everything kind of comes on chain. So, yeah.
Well, I have a question about Apple Pay, but I figured I probably should have started with this question.
Oh yeah.
What happened? You got, yeah.
It was funny. My
yeah.
co-founder tweeted this right after I got surgery because I was instantly back on my phone. But yeah, I was just like using Olympic rings. I'm like very careful at the gym. I try to do like a bunch of mobility work, and there's just like a freak accident on Olympic rings. I like twisted my arm wrong, and I fully tore my bicep off my radius. So yeah, within a week of that happening, I got surgery. That was about 2 weeks ago, and this comes off tomorrow, luckily. So,
oh, nice. Yeah. There you go. Well, we'll stay off the Olympic rings for a little bit.
Try my best.
Apple Pay. This is very interesting to me because it's not something that's a feature in the vast majority of crypto apps. And it seems like if you're trying to onboard normal people, it really should be.
Yeah.
What was the thought process behind that? Was it difficult to implement? And then like, has that actually been a pretty good growth spurt?
Yeah, absolutely. We've done, I think, $5-6 million since we launched that in July across like tens of thousands of users. And I think, so people have done Apple Pay in the past. There was like Moonshot had an Apple Pay feature. These other ones did too. And some of like the most famous on-ramps have them as well. But it's kind of a misnomer because the FOMO one's the only one that's actually truly native because it doesn't require like a web view for extra KYC or any of these things. And basically it allows people to come on and buy their first coin very easily, right? If you want to deposit like Solana USDC, you have to use an on-ramp. And I think honestly, a lot of people depositing larger funds are either going to do it via crypto or via bank account deposit, which we're going to have very soon, like a pull bank account deposit. We have withdrawals already. But the Apple Pay feature is a really amazing product because you can kind of show this flow within 30 seconds. Like if you download the app right now, within 30 seconds, you could Apple ID on and then Apple Pay your first asset. And it kind of gets people situated with the platform. And it's been amazing for distribution. And we actually have currently built, we're about to probably ship in the next few weeks, the next version of our Apple Pay feature, which kind of exists. I'm not going to share too much, but it kind of exists outside of our app, and it's going to be this massive distribution opportunity there. So I think doubling down on that's really important because giving users access to this platform and to crypto, like for example, Monad's going to launch and there'll be a lot of applications with different front ends, but to get these net new users, you have to create something that's intuitive to them and accessible to them. And it's been really hard. I don't want to go on a huge spiel here, but it was kind of like on the early internet when the first personal computer was created, money transmission, content creation, messaging, none of these things exist on the internet. Like people just bought a personal computer with a mouse and they were just like typing in like a doc and then they were like drawing. But then over the next 5 to 10 years, when people had the access, like social media started, money transmission, like PayPal was created, and there were these other things to do on these devices. And I kind of feel like we're at this phase with crypto right now where people do want to trade, there's a native use case, but still there's not an easy access mechanism. So the ease of use of the platform plus the Apple Pay feature kind of helps bring new users to the platform for the first time.
I have like 3 things I want to ask really. So I'll just cut them up into different pieces.
Cool.
Where are you seeing most of your user growth coming from? Like, is there any specific top of funnel? Like where are the users coming from?
Yeah, so I think there are 2 different sides. There's a lot of top of the funnel. A lot of them are coming from like traditional social media, like Instagram, TikTok, etc. And we have like a lot of really good partners there and are starting to scale that up more. And then some of the top traders on the platform, because even like a lot of traders from Axiom are coming to FOMO, and I think the meta is shifting. I think people are starting to get tired of playing the same game where like you're just dumping like, I don't know, 10K into a 200K market cap coin, but then like, I don't know, getting scalped by these snipers and losing to the same person. And I think hold times will increase over time. And on FOMO, we talk to our top traders and they basically tell us like we're more comfortable holding for longer periods and smaller amounts because I see what everyone under me is doing, right? And there's also a reputational stake. So we also are seeing a large growth in these top traders as well. So I think it's both sides of the coin. And as you continue to build the best trading experience, then hopefully those people want to stay on the platform. And then it's the top of the funnel growth. But one thing we've really doubled down on recently is really trying to do more data-driven growth, because you can increase the top of the funnel, but if users are turning off the platform, then there's no point in doing that. In fact, it's just gonna shoot yourself in the foot, because those users like may have stayed if you like optimize the bottom of the funnel first. So our top of the funnel was a big focus of ours, and I think right now we're trying to do a lot of data-driven optimization, and then we'll kind of continue to expand the top of the funnel there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Instagram and TikTok, not typically thought of as crypto platforms. Like, it's interesting that those are where you guys are seeing new user growth. Was that on purpose, or did you just find a resonance frequency there and ran with it? Like, what was that journey like?
Yeah, I think so. Some other apps had some previous success there. Like I think it could have been a lot broader, which is what gave us hope. I think that a lot of times people will find out about a coin and then it'll like be, which platform should we come to? And historically they'd go to a platform, they'd buy that coin, and then they'd have no clue what to buy next. They either make money and then they leave the platform. But our thesis is if we have this social discovery mechanism where you're constantly having new people to follow and new discovery of coins, you could come from these like a TikTok or something and then want to continue to trade. And we've noticed like people really love like the venues. Like we'll see like a mom from like Oklahoma, like this like mother of 3 kids, and she like has this in her bio, and she's making like $500 a week just like trade. It's crazy. Like some of the people you see on FOMO already. So that's kind of how we are seeing success there. And I think that those markets are pretty important. I think there's a lot more that can be done there. Yeah.
Got you. One, and I know we have about 5 minutes left. A lot of people tuning in right now are excited for the Monad launch. They heard about the Coinbase token sale that's going live on Monday 9 a.m. Mark it on your calendars.
It's huge.
Yeah, big news. I think with mainnet going live in 2 Mondays from now, a lot of people are getting excited about Monad in general, maybe learning about it for the first time and kind of wondering, what should I do on day one? Will FOMO be here on day one? What type of user journey can people expect?
Yeah, FOMO will be live day one on Monad, and we're really excited to partner with you guys. And we hope that we are like the trading app of Monad. Like I truly believe this. And I think one thing that people are realizing is we love the base team, we love the Binance team, we love Solana obviously, which is kind of our home, and the assets natively still live on Solana. So like your cash balances is on Solana, so that is the home. But I think that all trading infrastructure was always built on Solana, and they had a huge edge there. But then what the base team and the Binance team started to see is there was like a season right after we launched. And I think that now that if you create the best trading experience, and we'll continue to iterate and make sure it's the best trading experience, but you give access of that trading experience to every chain, it kind of levels the playing field. So I think FOMO being live day one on Monad gives this opportunity where day one, the best trading experience for these net new users already exists on Monad. So hopefully they come in. I know tokens will be launched there. I think there will be things to trade. People just excited to hold even Mon token, right? And you'll be able to do that all natively on FOMO. You'll be able to see all of your friends holding it. You'll be able to like share those P&L cards externally, and that's something that we're working on developing even more. So yeah, really excited to partner with you guys there, and yeah, it'll be live day one, and people can buy whatever they want on Monad.
Awesome. Yeah, and then from the FOMO team's perspective, like how do you look at an opportunity like Monad going live? Right, like when you guys sit around and you're going, what should we do next? Should we strengthen the things that we are currently doing? Should we look to expand into new markets? Should we look at a whole new ecosystem or chain like Monad? What are some of the reasons that you guys see Monad as an opportunity and then, chose to get all the integration set up and deploy day one?
Yeah, I mean, if you guys did one thing right, it's build an ecosystem. And obviously you had some time to do it. And I mean, it's been incredible to see like the ecosystem and support of Monad. So we hope that all of these people that love Monad now have an easy way and a social way to be able to interact on Monad, right? Because you launch this chain, like new infrastructure launches, like what do we do there? But now there's an opportunity for people to do something there. And hopefully the FOMO community can come to Monad, and then the Monad community can come to FOMO, right? And it's this beautiful synergistic play where these things start to become more abstracted and people are using Monad. On the FOMO side, our goal is to integrate every chain that people want to use in the next six to 8 months. So basically, hopefully in 6 to 8 months from now, there won't ever be a chain, never be any coin that exists on chain that won't be available on FOMO. And at that point, if you're cross-platform, you can trade any asset there. Why would you go anywhere else? Especially if that's where all your friends are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's a great reason. I'm very excited that you guys will be live on day one of Monad. That will actually be how I'm interacting with the chain a decent amount, testing things out in the beginning. So no, pumped. I think what you guys are doing on the user retention side, I think to me, the secret sauce of FOMO is the user acquisition strategy with the user retention social graph. Like to me, it's those two key things together. Like one increases, it accelerates the flywheel, and then the other one makes sure that everyone stays in.
And there's so much more to do there. Like I'm going to say, like, it seems like, I think a lot of people, they see success and then they start to cool off. Like, I don't think we're anywhere yet. Like this is just the beginning, and we have so much planned on both the social and the trading side. And you'll continue to see this team innovate and ship and be close partners with Monad. So
absolutely. Yeah. Well, we're very excited that you guys will be there day one. Can't wait to use it. And yeah, Paul, thanks for coming on. This was
See
an
you on
absolute
FOMO.
blast. Let's go. At TryFOMO. Oh yeah, wait, Paul, can you show how people can find the app, how people can find you?
Yeah, we're having some complication with Twitter right now. So you could find me at Paul Erlanger. You on Twitter, you could or X. You can find my co-founder Say at Say Young on X. And yeah, you can download FOMO. Just search FOMO on the App Store. It should be the first one that pops up. And if you give me a follow, I'm at Paul on FOMO. I'll follow you back.
Awesome. You heard it here first. I heard about the Twitter troubles. I'm gonna, we have a big boy account on Twitter, and so they let us talk to people who work there. I'm gonna see if I can help you guys out with that.
Amazing. All right.
We got to get the FOMO Twitter back up for mainnet day one. So awesome. Paul, appreciate it. Always a blast. We'll catch you soon.
Thank you.
Everyone try FOMO.
We're going to do a quick intermission. We're back.
And we are back and better than ever. We just had Paul from FOMO on, which is an enormous app. A lot of people are very excited to try that on day one. Maybe one of the only teams that can come in and go, actually, this might be bigger news. I love Paul, so I can say that. Nick from Agora, repeat joiner of the show. Very excited for Agora on day one. Nick, how are you doing today?
Doing good. FOMO's pretty good though.
They're good. People are excited about FOMO.
Yeah, they've shipped at like a really like incredible rate, and built I think probably one of the best consumer apps in the space. And I think just like seeing their velocity, I think like still just like early innings, and I think they're going to be probably one of the biggest mobile apps like in crypto.
Yeah, a lot of people we'll bring people on the show and it's like break down your app and what it does, and a lot of them it's kind of hard to pick out like, oh, this is actually special. The way that I describe FOMO is like their user acquisition is just so much better than the vast majority of other teams shipping in the space, and their retention is great. Like their little social feed is great. So
yeah, they had really good this is what, when it comes to just like building like good products and businesses, you need to have like a very clear I think vision for what you want your product to be from the start, that you can like tweak here and there, and they disclosure, I was an angel investor in FOMO, but like they've done like a really like impressive job. And I remember when I spoke with them, like they had a really unique strategy where they're like, we don't want actually like institutional capital to start. We want to get like basically 200 people that we think can really add a lot of value to the business in a bunch of different dimensions, which I think also plays into their social strategy, which has made them so successful. So yeah, it's good to see like all the success that they're having.
Absolutely. Well,
so I mean, you introduced Nick, but the chat is wondering where Danny went, and then Abdul just and we never addressed it at all.
No, this is Danny. What are you talking about?
oh my god, it's like from The Office. Yeah. Like I'm Jim. Yeah. What are you talking about? Identity theft is not a joke, Jim. Well, identity theft did not happen here because we are not joined by Danny. We have Abdul, head of DeFi, joining us on this stream. Abdul, how are you doing today?
I'm good, man, but I'm actually Danny. I just went a few inches shorter. I grew a beard, and I'm Asian.
And then we also have a call-in. I believe your dad is on.
Oh, is he on already?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So everybody throw on their headphones.
Oh, cool. Okay.
I don't even think he knows it's a live stream too, which is going to be great.
Yeah.
Hello?
Oh, the camera.
Oh yeah.
I may need to find another place.
Oh, we can hear you.
Yep.
We can hear you fine. It does. Your camera does make it look like there's like a heat sensor or something.
Who wants to look at me anyway?
Well,
when are you live?
Right now.
You are live on air. Yeah, I mean,
Danny.
Yeah, I think we're back.
Yeah, I think we're back. This works. Yeah. The video is good enough. We can see you. It's not bright and clear, but it is pretty solid. But yeah, I mean, this is a special one. We have Nick on show, Jan Vanek.
Yeah, Jan.
Jan. Yeah. Jan, we are pumped to have you on stream. We know you're a very busy man, so we don't want to take up too much of your time today. But had a couple of questions if you're open to chatting a bit.
Sure.
Awesome. Well, I think the story of the last 1 to 2 years for crypto specifically has been, or maybe over the last 10 years, people don't really know what blockchains are about, what they're actually going to fix. It seems like there's a bunch of empty promises or things that seem too good to be true, just kind of talked about in the crypto industry. But then in the last year, really, we've started to see true institutional adoption. We've seen ETFs going live. We've seen a lot of enormous banks and major financial or major institutional players entering the space, or if they aren't in the space yet, figuring out how they should actually do this. And I feel like you probably have a great perspective on, what are some of the things that you are seeing on the institutional adoption of crypto or blockchains more broadly?
Yeah, I think what's more exciting to me, when I answer that question, what I hear is what are actually financial services firms and institutions doing with blockchain technology, right? Not who are the people that are buying ETFs, which I think is kind of a not that interesting question. And the context that I bring to it is blockchains didn't even have a fighting chance until 2023. And what I say by that is until then, right, the transaction fees were all over the map. And no corporate IT department or any serious builder is going to build on something like that. It's like going, it's when you get gas for your car and you have no idea if it's going to be $50 or $5,000. So 2023 was the starting gun as far as I can see it, in terms of Solana and then the L2s coming on the scene and sort of some real pathway towards building. So now we're just 2 years into that. And then, of course, I think 2025 is equally dramatic because of the regulatory unlock, which has kind of flipped it on its head. It's sort of taken these big banks that were told by Washington, don't touch Bitcoin, or we're going to bring federal law enforcement actions and jail time on you, to you basically have to have the tech capability of custodying and transacting in stable coins because your customers will demand it. Otherwise, you're going to lose your customers. So it's one thing for JP Morgan's private bank to see thousands and thousands of clients go to move money to Coinbase to buy Bitcoin. It's a whole nother thing when their corporate clients and individual clients want to transact in stables and they have no way of handling that. So I think what you see now is like, these months and quarters, all of Wall Street is trying to approach it. And not to give a too long answer, but I think to finally answer your question about blockchains, what we're looking at is that corporations want their competitive moats, right? Whether it's JP Morgan and their deposit base or Circle with its customer and usage base. So and Coinbase with Base. So everyone's going to try to use their corporate chains to a certain extent as competitive tools. But I think there's no way they win the whole field. And so there's going to have to be a level of interoperability with public blockchains because customers, I hope, fingers crossed, are just not going to put up with this corporate permission blockchains alone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, it is funny that you
on the video.
Oh yeah, it is funny that you mentioned 2023 as kind of the starting gun. It is kind of when Monad came to prominence. I'm not going to, draw a correlation and point things out that might just be coincidence. But just saying that is kind of when people started caring about Monad, and we are on Monad in the morning. So, yeah, I think the car analogy makes a lot of sense, right? Are you going to buy a car and use it in your everyday commute if you don't know if gas is going to be $50 or $5,000? Probably not. I think consistency, speed, and scalability and security are crucial. And you really need to have those things nailed down for any type of institution to start flowing. So, yeah, I agree. On the high throughput blockchain front, these are really where things are useful at the institutional layer. And yeah, I know we're looking to make waves on that side and see just how fast, how cheap, and how secure we can make that base layer. But Abdul, I'll throw it to you.
Yeah, definitely. And I would love to get your perspective on how you see stable coins fitting into an asset manager's broader strategy for digital assets, and what are some things that you think are still missing for institutions to hold or integrate stable coins at scale?
Yeah, it's sort of interesting. I mean, obviously, Tether has created one of the greatest business models ever by keeping all the interest on, and they have such a head start in this area. But I don't think that's really realistic for any other player aside maybe Circle. So I stablecoins is more of a payments technology rather than, even though it is a pool of assets, than necessarily an asset management product or solution per se. No more than money market funds in brokerage accounts were effectively just a way to pay interest in brokerage accounts where they couldn't kind of do that before. So especially in the high interest rate environment of the late 1970s. So we're in addition to our small involvement in stables, looking at tokenization as well, which still has a lot of hurdles. I'd say we're very, very, very early in trying to figure out what the use case is for tokenized funds, but we're looking actively at it.
Definitely, that makes sense. And maybe just to kind of touching on what you were talking about before this, how do you think? Like obviously we're making a lot of progress with execution layers within blockchains. So how do you think like a fast, decentralized, and efficient execution layer like Monad is going to be changing the game with how institutions interact with tokenized products?
I mean, I guess I was interested in what your view is of what a market structure might look like. I certainly get the argument that you don't want to rely on a single CFI for having an open order book or lots of other kinds of behavior that they may be engaged in. So, the part of an ETF ecosystem that's super, super important is that of market makers. And so we rely on the market makers to provide the liquidity around ETFs. And I think that's true for tokenized funds and tokens themselves. So I'm hoping that something like that can develop, but I don't know if you have any views on how the tech can bring in that part of the ecosystem. I know you have an approach there, but I'd love to hear any comments you have on what I just said.
Yep. Yeah, I think generally one thing that we've seen over the past few years is there's a convergence happening between DeFi and TradFi, and I think one of the biggest benefits of DeFi that institutions are probably also realizing is that it is a decentralized global layer. Obviously, you can have compliance protocols built into it, but at the same time, the amount of exposure that you get on chain is much larger than what you would have otherwise. So I think over time, we're seeing more and more solutions come to market that are tokenizing assets like stocks and ETFs and a lot of other things that are, bringing more exposure for people all across the world to participate in this. But yeah, I think
one of the advantages too, right, is that like having a credibly neutral layer is important, right? Yeah. Whereas like in crypto, whether it's like a corporate chain or in the traditional world, like if you have like a closed loop system, right, it's all to serve the interest of one party. Whereas like if you have an open loop or like credibly neutral economy, right, it encourages a lot of people to build on it, and then that's where you get the network effects, right? And so I think that's like one of the biggest advantages, right, is that you like attract a much broader array of people and builders to build like a stronger network. And networks are only as strong as like the number of nodes that you have, like so to speak, or builders. And so if you're saying, hey, come build on this, open source neutral layer, like, if you've, in the software community, like one of the lessons is like open source, like almost always wins, right? And so I think that's one of the most attractive elements of being like decentralized and not aligned with a specific corporate, right? Where you're gonna have to rely on them for software development or resources, or they may pick and choose favorites, right, and sort of tip their hands on the scales of who wins. Whereas like having this credibly neutral open layer, it's fair game.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
And Jan, one last. Oh yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
You could just do a follow up to that. Is I think what's Nick has made this point. He's closer to the ecosystem than I am. That a lot of the new founders are really sophisticated in financial services. Compared to maybe some of the crypto founders of 5 or 10 years ago. I think that it's a good time at some point in the next year to think about market structure. So I'll give you an example, right? The New York Stock Exchange has provided a neutral execution platform, let's call it. But they have started to monetize that position by charging for data that they generate. And it would be sad if we created this crypto ecosystem, and then whoever wins that, kind of neutral exchange platform starts expropriating everyone else because they have access to the data. So there's these market structure kind of rules of the road, whether, how is data disseminated? Is it through the platform? Is it through oracles or whatever? That I'm not sure we're talking about enough, because we don't want an end state that's Nick was painting a nice open world, but people are always going to grab for their competitive advantage, and in ways that maybe we haven't fully thought through in the blockchain ecosystem.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, Jan, really appreciate you hopping on. We know we didn't have too much time today. I think we're going to hop into Agora and what people can look for on day one of Monad's launch. But really cool to hear your perspective on the institutional side.
When are we doing mainnet, by the way? Sorry, I don't follow that's closely.
Yeah, two Mondays from now. So next Monday, the Coinbase token sale opens up. And the Monday after that, right before Thanksgiving, is when mainnet launches.
Yeah, so we can talk about it at the dinner table, Dad.
Yeah, at the dinner table, you'll have a lot of topics to cover.
All right, good luck with that.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
See ya.
That's like
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you. That's like the perfect father transition over. Like, when's mainnet? All right, good luck with that.
Good luck.
That's awesome. No,
Thanksgiving, on Thursday, he'll be like, so how's that Monad, how's the Monad mainnet going?
Yeah.
I mean, it'll be rocking and rolling, so I think it'll be pretty good.
100%. Yeah. I mean, it's cool to kind of like hear and see, or I guess maybe this is better framed as a question.
Yeah.
Like how that kind of institutional perspective and like how the Thanksgiving dinners of the past and like those conversations and just having a good lens into like what actually kind of makes the traditional financial institutional world go round.
Yeah.
How that has kind of how that perspective has made its way into Agora's design, because I think Agora has a very unique design and it was essentially custom made to make it easy for pretty much anyone to be able to use it.
Yeah, so I think for us, right, it's and this is just sort of informed like a lot of my background, and then not just so one, obviously VanEck is a 70-year-old, $160+ billion asset manager, right? So like when it comes to regulators and like process and safety of assets, right? Like they're the bluest of the blue chip, right? And like that I think informed like a lot of our decisions. But also like it's just like the DNA of our team. One of my co-founders was head of global operations at Galaxy. Took them from 10 to 500 people, took them public. Before that, ran operations and risk at one of the largest macro hedge funds in the world. So we think about those things, right? And for me, and you kind of heard it from him, like things are so early that you need to think on like a 20, 30-year time horizon. And so we wanted to make a stablecoin that was really institutional grade from day one. So using the best financial custodians, the asset managers, and really also believe that what makes one of the things that makes a stablecoin a really good product is connectivity to existing financial layers, right? And so with that also comes regulation. So we have a full license in Bermuda. We're going to go through the Genius process, like everyone else for the federal charter. And like having the connectivity between those two worlds is extremely important. And then I also think the relationship and understanding like what traditional financial service firms are looking for, right? So we may talk to a startup that's an on-chain startup, and they ask a whole host of different questions. Whereas like I'll go into Citadel Securities, talk to their head of FX, and like the second question that he'll ask is, who's your custodian, right? And so like when you get into these conversations with like traditional enterprises or large trading firms or large exchanges, like from the sort of traditional world, they ask those questions, and you need to have built everything from the ground up to be compatible with their expectations, and we've done that. And so, I think, to what he said, it's early days.
Nice. Yeah, I think with so much going on in the stablecoin space over the past year, and obviously with Monad coming to mainnet in about 2 weeks from now, I know that you guys are you have a lot of growth plans for the Monad ecosystem, and maybe would love to talk a bit more about that. But just to back up for a second, and I know you guys have your own thesis on growth for Agora and how you generally see blockchains. I guess a question to ask would be like, how do you guys view Monad fitting within like the broader stablecoin expansion plans that you guys have?
Yeah, so I think for us, like Monad is going to be core, right? So we're investing, we've invested a lot of time, but we're also investing a lot of dollars into the ecosystem for really like the first time. And so, we've been working with a bunch of Monad native teams, a bunch of, I would say, well-known DeFi brands like Morpho, right, that are coming to Monad and getting ready to not just partner with them on maybe incentives, but also like LP capital, right, and getting these markets really going. And and so I turn it to you guys, and you tell me like what other companies sort of invested the dollars and like the capital that's coming to the Monad ecosystem. I would say we're probably number one, for sure. So excited about that. I think we're very bullish EVM, and then also I think your credible neutrality aligns with a lot of what we're about, right?
Yep.
One of the reasons we started this company is we felt that there needed to be an institutional grade, enterprise-facing stablecoin issuer infrastructure company that, served everyone else, right? You sort of have Tether that, obviously has been extremely successful, operates a little bit like a family office, not regulated. And then you had Circle, which, is also extremely successful. I think one of the reasons that they were very successful in DeFi is because of that connectivity that I was just talking about to the traditional world. So it's easy to get money, from the fiat world on chain and vice versa. But they have one partner in Coinbase, right? So Coinbase, makes over 60% of the revenue of USDC. They obviously have Base, which might have its own token. Now Arc, Circle has Arc, which is like a competing settlement layer, and that might have its own token apparently as of yesterday, right? And so we're not competing with all of our ecosystems. Like that's crazy to me. And so I think that's our an opportunity for us, right? Is to really partner deeply with ecosystems, invest a lot of like our income back into those ecosystems. We're obviously doing it very much upfront with Monad, but then over time, and helping ecosystems really like become self-sufficient economies versus like being an issuer that is rent extracting on different ecosystems and then saying, hey, we're going to steal this all for ourselves. Like kind of what my dad was talking about with the New York Stock Exchange example, right? It's like, oh, like thanks for helping like fund all of our CAC all these years with tokens, but like now we're going to build a chain, we're going to own everything, and like, decentralization doesn't matter, right? Like,
Yep.
So like that's not something that we're planning to do or are about. And so I think there's a lot of philosophical alignment, but also time, energy, and dollar alignment.
No, that's awesome. And I think like when I think about stablecoin expansion and how stablecoin started off like 6, 7, 8 years ago, and I think we're sitting at close to 300 billion in stablecoin issuance right now, which is probably less than like 2% of like all stable like dollars out there in existence. In my opinion, I think that number goes up to like over 10 to 20% over the next decade or so.
Yeah.
So we are extremely early innings, in my opinion, still within the stablecoin space. And historically, one of the things that we've kind of seen, and this is also kind of maybe a symptom of being in a zero treasury yields environment, was that yield was or income that stablecoin issuers were earning was never reinvested back in the ecosystem, and we've kind of seen
because they weren't really making any.
Yeah, they weren't making any, exactly, right? But I think like 2 years ago, ever since we started getting these rate hikes, is when everybody started seeing like, oh, Tether is making a lot of money, and a lot of these issuers are making a lot of money, and then we started seeing like some of these yield-bearing stable coins come in the market, and like yield typically, in my opinion, kind of runs like the bull bear market in crypto. Like if you look at like the 2021 cycle, you look at this cycle. But I know in your guys' case, obviously you guys are a big issuer already, and hopefully going to be becoming like 10xing, 20xing your growth over time. How do you guys view kind of like reinvesting income to like further your growth, and like what would the growth plans on that front look like?
Yeah, so I think what we do is a variety of things. One, we work with teams up front and say like, hey, here's like a budget, like if you're using AUSD, like go grow your platform, right? Yep. And I think that really resonates with like early startups. They're just like trying to get some sort of revenue, right, and like adoption. And then with like I'd say larger enterprises, we do revenue sharing agreements, right? Where it's like, hey, like, you want, like, you have $100 million on your platform. Hyperliquid's a great example of this. You have 5 billion USDC on your platform. Like, you, of course, want to monetize that, right? And so, like, Agora is here to help you do that, right? and has that alignment. And so to me, like, it wasn't like a, I would say a genius insight. It was something very obvious, right? It's like you have all these people that have their own platforms, that have developed their own distribution. They're of course going to want to monetize that, right? And so, we primarily do that through AUSD. We also do white labeled stable coins. I think that's become hot. I think that'll actually fade over time as people realize like there's a lot of management. And once you sort of, open the can of toothpaste, you can't put it back in the bottle. It's like, oh, we have this thing that is now live and is real money. Yep. But we, sort of like our job is to say, here's the menu of options. Choose what you think is best for you. If you just want to get paid on your balances or, grow your business, like, Agora is the place the company to work with.
Nice.
So.
And I think the good part about something like this is that if, you have a stablecoin issuer, you have an app that's onboarding a lot of users, and you keep reinvesting, like treasury yields that you earn as income, or all of these apps, you can basically have a really positive flywheel that is getting energy from a lot of different sources, and the app can grow further. There's more alignment between the issuer, between applications. So yeah, personally, I'm extremely excited about the vision that you guys have for Agora.
It's like a big piece of the monad economy, right? Like I thought of like all these ecosystems as like self-sufficient economies, right? And it's like, okay, you can either work with someone that is going to be extractive or build like competing products, or someone that is like actually actively invested in the ecosystem and pumping money back into that economy so that economy can grow. Like, and when you think about it like that, it's like, to me, if you're like community native, like there's only one option to choose, right? And like that would be Agora. You don't have to be so blunt, but I will be, right? It's like, it's like, or you can, partner sort of with someone that's building a competitor to your ecosystem, right? And may kill you, right?
Yeah, I think it reminds me of Jeff Bezos and like how Amazon for 20 years or something didn't turn a profit. Everyone's like, what do you mean he's not turning a profit? He's just reinvesting everything so he could grow faster, outgrow everyone. And then at the end, right, then there's a pie of profit.
And there's like always, it's, people, I think always, it's like the 10-year overnight success story, right? Where it's like people also love to rag on founders or companies when things are perceived to be not going well. But like I remember like there was a front page article in the .com crash where it was like the title on the front page was Amazon.bomb, right? And it was like the stock had gone down 96% or whatever, right? And Jeff like used that as like fuel to get his team like energized and excited. And it's like, like, look, we're building this for the long term. It's like short-term things, that may create a lot of noise aren't valuable. And like, look, if we just stay committed to the mission, you're going to be very successful.
One question, because I know we're talking kind of a lot of like philosophy and excitement on like why and how this strategy exists and why it's important. Little bit of quick candy for the audience, right? Like Monad mainnet coming up in under 10 days now. We're in single digit days. Agora, AUSD is going to be there day one. As a user, I'm excited. I see Nick. He's handsome. It seems like this is a fantastic project. I want to get involved. Like, what do I do? Like, how do I get involved with the Agora eco?
So I think with us, right, we're going to have a lot of exciting opportunities on chain on day one, right? So if you look at a lot of like the Monad native apps and then non-Monad native apps, like the opportunities will be very attractive relative to anyone else, and much more attractive, I think, by orders of magnitude, going back to the investing money into the ecosystem. So that's one way, but like we'd also just like love to work with founders, right? Like, and help them be successful, right? On Monad, right? If you have an interesting idea, like we'd love to talk to you. We'd love AUSD to be the core of your product, and we can help you grow, right? I think that's like really what we're trying to do. We were chatting with Paul quickly, right, about like, okay, how can we collaborate on Monad, FOMO, Agora together, right? We were jamming about like doing like a hackathon, right, in the offices in March, right, where we would like sponsor incentives. Like I think reach out, right? We're really excited to collaborate with people in the ecosystem, and like this is day one, so.
Yep.
Do we know, and Abdul, I feel like you were just about to say something, so I'm sorry for cutting out. Do we know if people can pay each other on FOMO? I don't know if they can.
I don't know. Well, they can definitely send money to another
across
user.
wallets.
Yeah, across wallets,
Okay.
but it may not be like,
I got a couple
a
gears
first
here.
party experience where it's like, curated. I know that they're doing some other things, so I don't
Right.
want to give away any of like the product plans.
Venmo with interest to me has always been like, duh, this is how crypto wins. Why would you? It's like, okay, you have Venmo or you have Venmo and you can see the number ticking up even if it's 10 decimals out. It's just cool.
Yeah.
Agora and FOMO could easily create that. So just
Yeah.
throwing ideas around. We get making connections on the fly.
Yeah.
But
No, I think actually what you brought up is a great point, right? And that's kind of the thesis that I have for stable coins versus actual dollars in your bank account, right? Because actual dollars in your bank account, there's very little opportunities that you would get on top of it because typically the banks will not share their income with you. Like they have no reason to, right?
Yeah.
Versus what we're seeing with stable coins and issuers like Agora, and they're going to be reinvesting things in the ecosystem, and the beneficiary is eventually the end user, right? So I'm taking the conversation one step further, and not just talking about stablecoin issuer versus stablecoin issuer. I'm talking stablecoins versus everything, right?
Yeah.
And that's the broader thesis for why tokenization makes sense, why like the stablecoinization makes sense, and not just in US dollars, in other currencies in the world as well, which we'll increasingly see over time.
Yeah.
And maybe just kind of double clicking on things that excite me personally about Agora. Obviously, when we had Jan on, we were talking about this convergence between TradFi and DeFi, and the trend's been clear over the past year. And I think as we start looking more and more at institutional grade DeFi and more institutions and traditional enterprises entering on-chain, I think AUSD stablecoin really offers a good entry point for big institutions to come and use a product that they can trust. As you mentioned that when you talk to these enterprises, the first question they'll ask is like, hey, who's your custodian, right? And then I think Agora bringing native minting and redemption to Monad on day one of mainnet also means that there's going to be robust liquidity for trading pairs and lending, borrowing markets, basically enabling an entire ecosystem of DeFi products, which I think is like extremely powerful.
And something that we also announced today is we're integrated with Layer 0 and Monad. It'll be the first sort of integration there, and then we'll expand it to the rest of our blockchains. But I think that's right, and I think we'll have the most liquidity on day one. So we're excited. We're excited for it, and I think like that's like again, it's just like the beginning, and then you start to build a bunch of products on top of that liquidity layer, right? That can whether it's NFTs, trading, like non-USD stable coins, right? So it'll be a good first week.
Definitely, and I think beyond just like campaigns or like incentive campaigns or things of that nature, like I think the experience that your team brings and the dedication that you guys bring in working with founders is also something that I think eventually pushes for a lot of adoption, right? Because yes, we are early innings with stablecoins and crypto, and as more and more founders build products that onboard an entirely new set of users, this is unclaimed territory. Like nobody has there's no right or wrong way to do things, right? And you need people with experience, people who have who are on the forefront of tokenization and a lot of these things, and kind of get their advice and have them support you in that journey. Which is what I think eventually will end up separating a lot of issuers, because there's going to be some issuers that will be deep in the trenches with the builders, helping them push crypto forward. And
I think this is something we're doing on Monad, right? It's like we announced Earn AUSD, right, with Upshift. We're also going to have SAUSD, which will effectively just be, a yielding treasury that's permissionless on chain. That'll also be on Monad. And we were brainstorming outside, but there's also like a litany of other of these vault products that we want to bring to Monad, right? And like it's like how do you build an ecosystem with utility that people want to use, right? Because some people may want to hold that 15% yielding asset. Someone may just want to be using stablecoins to trade against Mon, right? You have to build really a diverse array of applications. And I think something that I'm excited about to really push the frontier on is like sort of like this vaultification, right? And native yield products on chain, and then also things that we can do together in payments and with like these traditional institutions, right? Some of which I talked about the last time I was on the pod, but working with Raj and okay, how can we get more people spending with cards on Monad, right? And what are some of the maybe traditional asset managers that we know well, or that we're also friendly with, and we can bring them to Monad as well.
Beautiful. Well, I know there's a lot of people who watch this, so just to get clips or to write threads, because then every once in a while we throw
Gotta
you
get
a
the clippers.
retweet, and then they go for the cloud and they want to become a source of information. Here's a very layup thread. What should I do to get yield on day one of Monad? It's like, go look at Agora. There's your content, slam dunk for the week. That is definitely the thread to be writing if you're looking to provide information and get people to know what to do on day one of Monad. I think Nick has made this clear as day. I'm very excited to see what it actually looks like on day one.
Yep. I think it's gonna be an exciting time. There's so many opportunities in the ecosystem that we're looking at. Then we have issuers like Agora that are going all in with a lot of these protocols. So I think all the Monad community members and new users, they're gonna have a really good time interacting with these opportunities. I'm excited for it.
Absolutely. Nick, we'll throw the microphone your way. Are there any parting words that you would like to leave the listeners?
I would just say the last thing is we're very excited that mainnet's happening. And I'm sure, look, you guys are, everyone is, we've been putting a ton of time and energy and dollars into this. So it's always fun to get to the sort of end, but also the beginning where now you get to see the fruits of those labors. And so we're excited for everything to be live and bring a bunch more exciting projects to Monad in the future.
Awesome. Nick, for anyone watching, where can they find you? Where can they find Agora? How do they follow along with this process?
So Agora is with AUSD on Twitter or X. And then I'm Nick_Van_Eck, also on X.
Beautiful.
Did you final alpha last time?
The what?
We should wrap it up with the final alpha.
We can. We'll do a nice little final alpha on today's show. I don't believe you did a final alpha yesterday. My strategy for final alpha is to explain it in a very long-winded manner, so you have time to think about your answer.
All right, great. I like that.
Beautiful. So the final alpha is basically the final piece of wisdom or parting words that you just want to leave with the listeners. We have shamelessly stolen it from the podcast that was Up Only, potentially coming back in the future. We will find out. But it can really be anything that you want to leave people with. It could be something about Agora that they can look forward to that has, no one has ever said before.
Yeah.
It could be something that you learned when you were 15 and just stuck with you and has been part of your engine, building ever since then. It could be your grandma's famous recipe. It really could be literally anything. But just
alpha?
Just one little piece of final alpha to do as a parting with the show.
I'm trying to think what I could say. I think one thing that we are very excited about is, a lot of talk in the Monad ecosystem has been about Monad native teams, is bringing, I would say, very well-known traditional businesses on-chain in Q1 onto Monad. And I would also say net new products, right? So the final alpha is that we are going to have, our whole B2B treasury management system for crypto native teams and non-crypto native teams ready to go, in a Q1. So that's the final alpha.
Beautiful. Awesome. It's very rare that we get legitimate alpha
Yeah.
as final alpha.
I was surprised.
There you go. I think everyone was expecting maybe, a little snippet. Some
get the people
some
going.
Vegetables. You just got some red meat as final alpha.
I actually had to give the alpha because I hadn't prepped anything in advance. So
he's like, I don't know, so I'm just gonna go with the thing I know.
I did this when I was 12 years old.
So that is awesome. Well, thank you very much, Nick. Much appreciated. Are we spinning the wheel today?
Yeah. So I could do it by myself. Or
we have wheel spins. You guys can be released. Jessup and I are gonna sit here and see what real Chaos Walker is going to get for the 17th time on the wheel spin. But awesome. Abdul, Nick, really appreciate you guys
joining.
Thank
you guys.
Yep, it was a pleasure.
All right, Jessup, we got a couple prizes to give away.
We got this
We got some AF in Dubai.
Yeah.
I forgot.
He said his name was Alex something. Alex F.
Oh, he's doxing for Monday in the morning.
Yeah.
Thanks,
guys.
Thanks, guys.
All right, well, I would like to spin for him first. We talked about his name an awful lot.
Danny also sent a list of clippers that we're going to spin for.
Wait, clippers.
So because we didn't spin last week. So
okay, and we did make a big promise to clippers, I believe.
We did.
Yeah.
Let me find Danny's. You want to spin for a Finn and then
Finn. Main account blocked.
No way.
Finn. Sorry about your luck, buddy.
Oh.
You hate to see it, but you know that it keeps the game interesting for everyone else, and that's the important part. So, Finn, your sacrifice.
Did you ever unblock Nacho?
Nacho. Let's see. I'll go look now.
Okay.
And what's Finn's? Do we think it's the same?
It is.
AF in Dubai. Oh, it is. Follows. Oh. Is Finn doxxed? Is that just Finn?
I don't know.
What's up, Finn? It's a handsome man rocket with some white wine in the PFP. Love to see that. Beautiful. For anyone who wants to see what this PFP looks like, it's AF in Dubai. But I will no longer be able to see what that PFP looks like because Finn is officially blocked. Goodbye, Finn.
Also, right now, we just dropped the recap video from the bridge by the Thai that we previewed earlier on, I don't know which of the 3 streams we ran today, but it is live.
Preview.
It is live on the pipeline, so if everybody can go and like it and run that up. Savant crushed it. We turned it around overnight. Is probably the only recap video from that event out on the internet right now because I don't think anybody else got something out as fast.
No, and it's guaranteed the best recap video as well, so you should absolutely consume that content.
Yeah.
What is Nacho's Twitter?
Nacho. I'm not sure, but I'm gonna start spinning for these.
If he's blocked, start spinning for him. If he's blocked, it comes up in my settings.
So the first clipper that we are spinning for, which he also said that he is watching this from a treadmill right now. So
really,
yeah, Sovan. Let's go,
Bingo.
Sovan.
Nice.
Here we go. Sovan, I'm sorry.
What is it? Main account blocked. Sovan, goodbye. Dude, what? Wait, I'm looking at. Why do we have this? So I'm looking at our blocks because I couldn't find Nachos. So now Nacho, you are unblocked. But there's a number of just like random accounts that someone else has blocked from the account. It looks like the Rocket Money app has been blocked by the
what are they doing?
I have no idea. Elevate app, winner of Apple's App of the Year award, but not Monad's App of the Year.
What?
Not Monad's App of the Year award blocked.
What is going on?
Not Aptos, but Apt Services US blocked.
All right, we got
What is this?
Saturn also. Clip. You guys have been crushing the clips. I've been enjoying seeing.
Can we get 2 spins for the clips?
So give Sovan a second one.
Oh, Sovan clipped?
Yeah, that was a.
Oh, yeah, second one. You can't just get blocked if you did it. You got to get like we send him a swag bag or something.
Do we have Monad cards on here? Because I have a pack of Monad cards.
All right, if anyone gets main account blocked next, they get cards instead.
All right.
Those are the rules.
I'll also send Sovan one.
Okay. Hell yeah, Sovan. How about that?
Pipeline VIP. Sovan is definitely already a pipeline
that guy's
VIP. So Sovan, you got Monad cards. I'm hooking you up with some Monad cards. Not the physical ones. The one. Yeah.
Wait, what? This one.
Yeah. You got to talk to Tunes about
the pack. You get a pack.
And then, all right, who do we got next? Saturn. This one is for you. APAC follow.
APAC follow. What account should they be following? I need to know.
I have Saturn.
Okay.
Okay. This is a second one for Saturn because you were the clip of the week, according to Danny.
Clip of the week.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
20 push-ups. Saturn, which one of us is doing the 20 push-ups?
Saturn, which one of us is doing the push-ups?
We'll see. Intern, let's go.
First push-ups on the stream. What do I do? I get up there.
If you want, or you could do it on the ground.
I feel like it's better on the table. I did chest day this morning.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't need to change the angle.
I'll just hop up there.
Go.
It's like Danny.
Saturn says clipping this, by the way.
It's like Danny goes away. Danny goes away for an hour.
Danny's gonna be like, "This is chaos now." Dude, look at your triceps on this, guys. What is? Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Oh, let's go.
That was Nacho.
That was Saturn.
Saturn.
Clip it.
Coming for you. Oh my god.
Got followed and made you do push-ups.
I know, like this guy's all over me today.
All right, we got Q. Q has been crushing it.
Oh yeah, Q. I was actually gonna shout if Q didn't give one. I was gonna shout out Q because Q's been hitting a bunch.
Shout out.
Shout out, Q. Dude, you can't even make that up. That's like something magical's happened. Can we send Q the Monad cards?
Sure. Yeah.
Q, we're gonna send you Monad cards on top of that because that was just magical. And I've been seeing the clips. I wanted to retweet one of them. It was like 5 minutes long, so I was like, I don't know if my viewers are gonna be on that, but I think the clips have been awesome. The ones of Hasib last week were very good. So shout out Q. Shout out Q and a pack of cards to boot.
All right, now we got Vikru. Vikru.
Holy shit.
Vikru deserves a spin every time.
Yeah. We should have just a picture of Vikru just on
We
that.
need a Vikru plushie.
That's a great idea. I'm gonna ask Ops if we can get some Vikru plushies.
Yeah. All right, this one's for you, Vikru. Pipeline VIP. I'm sure
That's
you
solid.
already got that.
Wah, wah, wah.
And then from Fromsa Youssef. Monad swag. Let's go.
That's a good one. Swag is a good one.
Yeah.
I would take swag every day.
All right. Did we have any questions that were asked?
I got AF in Dubai. There were a couple others. Oh, Nini just sent me a message, and she said a Vikru calendar would be great.
Oh,
that is so
a great
good.
idea.
Vikru calendar. Oh my god, Nini! Shout out Nini.
All right. Let's see. We're gonna just do one last check to see. Question.
Yeah, there were.
Mel did ask a question. I don't know if this one counts, but that was the question where did Eunice get her jacket?
That counts.
Okay, go ahead. Main block? Wait a second. Main account block is on here twice. I don't make the rules, but I think that's a terrible.
Who did that? What is that?
Monad hat. We didn't check these before.
Oh,
no, not a Monad hat. That's
Monad
crazy.
hat. Nice. That is a great prize.
Nacho, did we spin for Nacho? We didn't spin for Nacho. Nacho did have a question asked here. So this one's for Nacho.
Nacho.
Oh, I was hoping his main account blocked because we just unblocked
Yeah, we just unblocked it.
Pipeline VIP. I'm sure you already have that, but we will make note of it. And then Calvin's Coonies?
Oh, Calvin Scunnies.
Scunnies. VIP. Dude, how's this on there twice? We're changing these from Monad swag.
Swag.
Calvin's
Jeez.
Coonies.
That might be the best one on there right now.
Yeah.
I wonder, I probably shouldn't even say this live on stream, but I wonder if we can do some bigger prizes.
I know what you're trying to say.
Post mainnet, if you're catching my drift.
That was Monad in the morning.
We wish you a merry Monad mainnet, and to any participants in the sale next week, best of luck. Hopefully you don't need customer support. I'm sure they will be swamped next week. Shout out Nini on the fantastic idea of a
You can hit
Vicar
up Kobe, I
calendar.
heard, on-
Yeah, you can just DM Kobe or email. He'll take care of it for you. Nini said, could Def do a Christmas one? Vicru, if there is a Monad Christmas themed picture that we could use and get all 12 months of the Vicru calendar, if there's some way to do a digital calendar, I'm sure there is. Put it on our Google calendar. I think this would go bonkers. That is a fantastic idea.
Like Vicru could sell those.
Yeah. All right. Well, 2.5 hours in. Jessup.
Yeah, I mean,
You have the
I do want to just mention the stream is still kind of glitching on the countdown. We're going to try to get that figured out. I think it's potentially due to just we have hit insane numbers.
Yeah. 540,000 views.
And literally a week long, over a week. So we're on day 8, which
8.
I mean, we've talked to Twitter and they said we don't know if it's possible.
I don't know. Yeah. Twitter was literally like, you guys can try it.
Yeah.
We don't know what's going to happen. Like, it's your platform. You should know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But as is, well, Joseph, I know you had that very special announcement you wanted to drop.